what I want you to remember. What I want you to remember is there are these two tensions, okay? And you will see them manifest themselves in your interactions. They will be happening inside of you, but you will see them happening inside the other person potentially. The key is that the tension when you encounter, when you are on two ends of this continuum. And again, cultures have different distances between them. So for example, a person who is independent from the US there would be a big difference, a big distance between them and interdependent from India or from Morocco. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention is pay attention to, if you are confused about this independent interdependence, think about school system. What does the school system, what kind of person the school system creates? Because that's going to be your measure. So if you are an African American or Asian American or Latino American in the US, you will tend to be more interdependent. But as you go to the school system, as you get to the school system here in the US will make out of you a more independent person, no matter where you come from. And so those people that are integrating multiple cultures, I call them biculturals. These biculturals have to integrate two different systems. So in school, they are taught to be individual, independent. At home, they're taught to be not. They're taught to be interdependent. So there's a struggle, especially for kids as they grow to adolescence and so on, to negotiate the differences. When you're working with people who are of that background, understand that they will be different in the sense that from somebody who grew up in an interdependent culture or somebody who grew up purely in an independent culture, if they grew up in a bicultural background, in a bicultural home, they will have integrated two different systems. Just like you, Dennis, when you spent 10 years in a Chinese company, you have adopted elements of it. So your brain just absorbed those kind of cultural values. So here's some things to remember. Independent tend to come from within. Interdependent tend to consider the outside, the other. What does my father would want me to do? I'm going to select a career. Well, I'm going to talk to my father and I'm going to find out what does he think is the right thing for me. I want to get married. Okay, I'm going to talk to my mother and my father. You know, who is a right person for me? In certain cultures, they may have that person. They may have the parents select for you. That's why sometimes you're working with someone and then they go for a year, for like a month, and then they come back married. And like, what? You never told me. It's because that's been already arranged. It's like, how long have you guys been going together? When did you date? It's like those concepts do not exist. Because those decisions are not, they're not decisions to leave to yourself. That would be crazy. Why would you want to go and select your own wife, your own spouse? That would be crazy. Why would you do that? Don't you have parents? Are you like, you know? So that's the kind of thinking that we're thinking here. That's kind of a brand of interdependence. Then you're like, oh, that's different from Midwest interdependent. This is real hardcore interdependence. Okay, internal versus external. Unique versus similar. So these school system wants you to be unique, assert yourself. These school systems want you to blend, to be similar, to not kind of become different, or like so that you'll be seen as, whoa, she is very different. She's different, which means you don't want to be that. You don't want to be that. You want to integrate. You influence. Here you adjust. You calibrate so that you can fit in. Okay? Here, this is interdependence really but they do well with with working within a process. That's why PMI, PMBOK, process oriented. It comes from independent view of the world. Here, you know, they like the network, the relationships. Projects are delivered through relationships versus projects are delivered through solid project management processes and PMI and PMO and so on. If you just have processes and follow them, out comes a good project. Here they're like, what process? How can you do process? You know, it's like there is no process. You have to actually know people, influence them, work with them, support them. That's how projects come out. And you will see that diversity even within the same culture if you, I mean, I would venture to say, even within the same culture, you'll have individuals that do not believe that the processes, in fact, they don't apply these processes, but they deliver project through relationships. If you have, you may tend to find that it's easier for independent to work within rules, okay? Within rules because like contracts, like what we talked about contracts. Contract is part of a rule. Like if I just have a contract with someone, there will be rules, and we're going to work within those rules, and we're going to work well together. Here, they're like, well, it's situational. I gotta figure out like who do I cannot just always follow the rule. I have to determine what is going to be appropriate for this situation because I have relationships to take care of. I can't be going just blindly by rules. I have to adjust. I have to be flexible. Again, and that follows with rules. This is easier for an independent to stick within a schedule, to stick within a plan. But to accommodate relationship and to be successful in these cultures, you have to be more, you have to flow, you have to be able to adjust, you have to be able to be flexible. And that's what societies that are interdependent reward. Like when I grew up in Morocco, my father will notice these moments where I allowed someone else to take something that instead of me saying I want it or I gave my brother something. This is from when we were little. Then they're like, okay, that's rewarded. It's like you're so good. You were flexible. You let the other person. You let others. You were not selfish. You were not self-absorbed. You were not self-focused. That's good. So those are the kind of messages that you get, and then that's what makes you a good person here in that culture. Again, here also it's focused on today and the future and now and getting it done and getting actions achieved. Here, you have to also take into account long-term relationships, long-term aspects that you have to consider. It's not just about getting things done. So when you come from this perspective and you work with this perspective, then you have that clash. Yeah, Jacqueline?
I was going to say, at some point at the end of going through these, would you be able to speak to how you can punish somebody accidentally by not taking some of these things into consideration?
Well, why don't you say it? Because I think that you, thank you for reminding me of that. But please elaborate.
Well, I'm thinking that sometimes, if for instance, I'm just working in the abstract here, I'll try and get specific in a second. But if you pick somebody out, you're at a meeting and you're with a group of people, and maybe you're praising or maybe you're identifying, and you pick somebody out as being unique and special. If they're from a culture that's interdependent, that may actually call them out. Their peers may shun them a little bit because that happened.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be careful of these things. I know my mother, for instance, would punish me by not letting me help. And that's an example of using, apart from being manipulative, it's a way of using exclusion and inclusion techniques to show the value, show the respect, or show the disrespect and the lack of value, and undermine the dignity of a coworker by being trampling accidentally or on purpose on their cultural sensitivities, their cultural abundance, as it were. So that so we only need to talk because this is not a long-term relationship. I mean, we're only doing this for this project. Well, for certain cultures, that's a slap in the face. It's like, you mean nothing to me. I'm just using you for what I can squeeze out of you.
Absolutely. I think that's powerful. Dennis, that's powerful. Thank you, Jacqueline.
One thing I found is that, having my own consulting company for 14 years, people have always said that I'm pretty adaptable, and I realize now that it's because I was 10 years in Chinese that I can easily switch now back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
That's called frame switching. So you have developed this